Hey there, Makers family, and welcome to this week's Monday meditation and prayer. We're going to get just really practical this week. Meditation and prayer, 2 words. All right, we're going to dive into them separately. So first off, let's talk about meditation. Kind of a fancier word for reflection, right? Maybe a higher scoring Scrabble word. Sounds cooler. Sounds so 2020, right? I'm going to go meditate. I have meditation time in the morning, versus us, just simple focus, say reflection. I'm going to reflect. Well, that sounds a little more emo, right? I'm going to go reflect on my feelings. There's just so much about this word. Guys, really what it means is just to think. Let's just have some airspace time. Let's just talk out loud, right? So I'm going to talk out loud for a minute. Man, I watched this last weekend's message, which we know was recorded 2 years ago, but as somebody who wasn't a part of Makers when the message was recorded, I feel so much closer to the DNA and the people. This series is going to be amazing. To get to hear some of our pastors' favorite messages and then to hear people from our community, I'm going to feel, and already do feel, more tied into our DNA here at Makers. Now, back to reflecting, back to meditating, is what we've been able to experience the last few weeks is a question that we get to debrief after every weekend message. And Derek's question for us was, what have we been fighting to be right about? And honestly, my answer is everything. I fight to be right about everything. It's truthfully everything. I'm reading a book right now. It's called Perfectly Confident. Click the link in my bio. Just kidding. I don't get any money for this. So, in here, there's this little graph where basically it's having you calibrate your confidence, right? So it gives you a statement where, for example, how much did Google pay to buy YouTube in 2007? So you write down a number on a low bound and a high bound. So what you think on the low end it maybe was, and on the high end it maybe was. And what it's supposed to help reveal is how maybe overconfident you are in areas that you shouldn't be, right? Now, this is an area I struggle with literally daily. I know Google, I know YouTube, I work in tech, I know about acquisitions, I know about exits. I'm pretty sure I know this one. So what I did is my number was way too tight, right? So I put a number super wrong. I put 650 million to 825 million. 650 million to 825 million. So there's 175 million in there. But what the book's trying to say is, if you don't know the answer, why would you put such a limited view? Why wouldn't you put 300 million to 3 billion? Because chances are that something in there is going to be correct. But here's where I just struggle with that. I struggle because it makes me seem as if I have no idea. It makes me seem as if I can't even come up with a calculated guess as to what that number could be. So like I said, I did 600 million to 825 million. The answer is 1.65 billion. 1.65 billion. So not only was my guess wrong, it was literally half of what the actual answer was. But the range I gave made it seem as if I was really confident. And that's where I slip daily when it comes to fighting for what I think is right. Because I think anything that I can come up logically is going to be correct. And I hope that you take that question with a little bit of caution. There's definitely going to be scenarios where I think we can get a little bit more theological or cultural, way high level. Think to what Mark said 2 weeks ago. Dying every day. If I as a husband could die every day to my wife and show her that it's not about the fight to be right, but the fight for her life is the most important thing. Man, what we could make on earth as it is in heaven, literally boundless. So now let's move to the second part. Let's move to prayer, right? We just meditated, we just reflected, we've got our I've got my inner peace. Let's do some prayer. Now, I want to be a little bit more action-oriented, right? Last week I prayed for us, but it was a statement of belief. I believed that you would say that with me. Now, let's do, right? There's I think a quote in here that talks about you can't build a reputation on going to do's. You can't build a reputation on saying you're going to do something, right? Your honey to-do list turns into a going to-do list. And that's what I feel, even just personally, about prayer, right? Oh, I'm going to pray for you. Hey, man, thanks for sharing that for me. I'm going to pray for you. My wife and I, we're going to keep you in our prayers. No, we're going to pray right now. So I want you to get out your phone. And I want you to text a prayer request to 97000. Just text a prayer request. Text a prayer request to 97000. This isn't a transactional thing. Our prayer team's going to pray for them as they come in. We're going to pray for them this week. We're going to pray for them on Friday at our Friday noon prayer meeting. And then we're going to follow up with you. Because it's not just about, oh, I'm going to do this because James asked me to. Oh, look, I did it. It's done. That's not it at all. We're called to do something much deeper for a much longer period of time with much more endurance, much more sacrifice, because there's a much bigger purpose and end in mind. Have an incredible week.